This podcast is brought to you in part by VIP Marketing and Advertising.
I am so pumped up today to have this guy on the line with us today. And that guy who I'm referring to is Mr. Jason Swenk. And today we are going to Swank-School. This is your daily development.
Welcome to your daily development with your host, Eric Elliott.
You're running away from the future, man. You gotta get caught up in the past. All right, so today I have none other than the man himself, Mr. Jason Swenk, and I'm going to brag on him a little bit because there was a point where I was struggling as an agency owner. I looked online, and you can see thousands of people out there claiming to be experts, but no one has really proven themselves until I really started looking into Mr. Jason Swenk, and I actually purchased one of his products, and I want to say that I'm taking our agency to Swank-School, so I am honored to have this gentleman on the line with us today, Mr. Jason Swenk. Jason, how are you, man?
Doing good, Eric, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Jason. You have an impressive resume and also an impressive business history, so I definitely don't want to screw it up, man, so if you could totally just introduce yourself to our listeners out there, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, so I help agencies. I really guide them through a proven framework so they can grow their agency faster and easier. And my backstory is that in '99, I worked for a company called Arthur Anderson, a paper shredding company that we all know that took down Enron. They were an accounting firm.
Wow.
But I worked for them for about 6 months. I did not like it. And I was lucky enough that one of my best friends looked like Justin Timberlake. And so one day I was just messing around with, I think it was Front Page or maybe Netscape Composer.
Oh,
and
Netscape.
if you remember that, Al Gore invented the internet. And I designed a website called and it got really popular. And yeah, I know, it's hilarious. And it got really popular, and people started asking me to design websites. Now, this was in '99, so I was like, yeah, sure. And so I just started designing websites. And then as I started getting busier and busier, I started treating myself as kept increasing my prices, and people kept saying yes. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then just started hiring more and more people as, more and more people wanted us to design websites. And so that's how I got my start. Did that for 12 years. Grew it up to a fairly big team, and then a lot of people wanted to buy us, and we got the right offer, right timing, and we said yes. And I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do after that, because I think as entrepreneurs, we all kind of fall into, running a business or different kinds of businesses. You kind of listen to the market if you read the signs. And so I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I literally was bored kind of sitting at home because I'm a creator, right? Everybody always asks, they always well, if you sold your agency for so much, why are you working and why are you trying to sell? I'm like, well, because I'm a creator, I'm a builder. Mm-hmm. And plus I want to help the market, and I want to build this up even bigger than the agency. So that's why. So that's my story.
I totally agree with you. I got a question about your buddy that looks like Justin Timberlake. Can he still pass for a lookalike?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, he had the curly afro and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, man. He had the blonde highlights.
Yeah. And then my other buddy started looking like Justin Gruber, or the famous singer. I can't remember.
A Bieber?
Not Justin Bieber. Oh, God, no. I wouldn't claim that.
Well, I mean, I guess, you roll with good company, man. So,
good stuff.
I'll tell you, I'll be a little personal here, and I'll just say, a lot of stuff that Jason's saying, man, I've seen it, I've read it, I've watched it all, and I think he's an awesome teacher and mentor, and definitely a proven leader with some proven systems, and we'll get into that as well later. But, not just for himself, but also for other agencies. I mean, Jason, you've worked with probably over 1,000 agencies around the world, right?
Yeah, so we've helped over 20,000 agency owners in, I think, 48 or 54 countries. I can't remember the last stat, but
wow.
It's incredible about how you can reach people all over the world now with all the technology. And if you specialize and you really want to help, it's really endless. I think we all think too small. And I even have to challenge myself to think bigger. And I think that's what holds us all back.
Yeah, Jason, when you owned your agency, do you think that you thought too small at that point?
I did in the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think in the beginning.
You just did.
I mean, I didn't like. Yeah, I mean, my first client asked me for an invoice. I didn't know what a damn invoice was.
Oh.
I couldn't Google it. Google wasn't around. So, and we were just being reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got to maybe year 4, and then I actually started thinking about like, really, what's that clarity? What do we want to build? Who do we want to serve? How do we want to be different, right?
Wow.
And then, starting to, kind of implement those systems. But yeah, the first couple of years, we just were reactive. We're like, you need a website? Cool, here.
Jason, I remember one of the conversations I had with you, and this word came up, Me Too agency. And the more and more that I think about it, or the more I watch different agencies, I always think like, wow, I mean, Jason's right. These guys are Me Too agencies. It's almost like the agencies are designing the websites for themselves versus the customer or the potential customer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, a Me Too business or Me Too agency is you're modeling. Here's the biggest mistake that people do is the smaller agencies as you're starting out, or your smaller business as you're starting out, you're looking at the big guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you look at the big guys and you look at what they're doing and you model what they're doing currently, not modeling how they actually got there. And that's the biggest mistake, right? So think about when Facebook came along. Did Facebook go up against MySpace right out of the gate? Hell no, they didn't. They would have got crushed, right? They literally went after Harvard students and then colleges and then ex-boyfriend and girlfriend stalking each other. So like you kind of have that progression. And that's the same thing with agencies. They look at these big agencies like a Razorfish or a Moxie or a Gray or whatever, and they go, man, they're doing everything. They're going after everybody. They have all these different sectors. And then they go, we need to do that.
Right.
But they don't have the manpower. They don't have the experience to do that. And so the only way you can really kind of separate yourself from everybody else is to truly just define a specialization. Now, I'm not saying like you're in an agency space, you can't just say, I'm going to do SEO.
Right.
It's too crowded, right? But you could say, I'm going to be a VR agency because that's up and coming, that's new. You could say that with Instagram stories or whatever, some kind of defined specialization. Or the easier way is to do it after an industry. And the reason you do this is so then you can change the positioning and you can change the focus on the person actually coming to your website or digesting your marketing. Here's the deal, is in your marketing or your sales pitch or all that, agencies put themselves as Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you make yourself Batman, you're going to make that visitor, that person digesting that stuff, Robin. And no one wants to wear the ugly green tights. You have to position yourself as Alfred, as the trusted advisor, the trusted guide, in order to help that superhero, get to what they need. Like every superhero has a guide or an advisor, right? Tiger Woods had his coach. Michael Jordan had a coach, right? Steve Jobs had advisors, right? So you got to think about it that way. And then once you do that, then you can separate yourself. Like if you look at my about page, you would think would talk all about me. It doesn't talk anything about me until the very bottom, under the cat video. But it asks questions and positions. That's the easiest way to kind of just change the focus to them. And the easiest way to change the focus is ask questions.
Jason, I think some agency folks are lost. I mean, at some point we were as well, just in full disclosure. But I think what happens is we have this perpetual state of rebranding. Like you said, every agency is looking like, oh my gosh, look at Y&R, look at them, they look awesome. Let's design our site like Y&R. We'll get clients that way. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you have this perpetual state of rebranding. Let's redo the website. Maybe this will change the way we do things. Do you see that happening a lot with agencies, Jason?
All the time. And they keep looking at the big guys. What they don't know is the big guys are not generating the business that you guys actually want off their website. They're generating it through their network and having that massive sales force going out. Like, no one cares about your stupid portfolio. You can have the best portfolio in the world. Great. You can have the coolest awards in the world. Who cares?
Right.
I've only lost one deal in my lifetime over not winning an award. And that was with Mellow Mushroom. I'll never eat their pizza again, the crappy pizza, because they said, Jason, we are not going with you because we want to win Addy Awards. I'm like, you are crazy. I'm never eating your pizza.
Really?
I don't hold the grudge.
Wow.
But like at the end of the day, like everybody else went with us, like Lotus Cars, AT&T, Hitachi, all these big brands, because of what we could do for them.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of the awards we won, not because of our portfolio, right? That's all focused on us. Focus on them, focus on helping them and understanding what their challenges are and understanding what they want. And you really got to dive deep into that in order to really separate yourself from everybody else.
So now, Jason, man, gosh, you're on fire right now. So one thing I want to jump into now, you talked about agencies being good at something and specializing in something. Is it possible for them to have more than one niche nowadays?
Yes, but you have to start with one. Our agency, once we started thinking and getting smart, we started with one. And then we dominated that, and we got really good. It all comes down to focus, right? Finish one commitment until success. That's what focus spells out, if you really thought about it.
Wow.
And so once we had success in one, then we could replicate that like a franchise. And then we could build other practice areas. So we first started off with a particular technology, Sitefinity. Then we went to SharePoint. And then we started going into the industry space, like higher education, automotive, home improvement, all those different things. And we started building those practice areas. You have a practice director that acts as kind of the expert or the so-called, they understand and they obsess over that. Because if you put one person in charge of 4 sectors, and they're going to get crushed. You're not going to know, what to put out. You're just going to be like, oh, I need to do this and this and this. And
now, here's one thing that I guess that baffles me and probably a lot of other agency owners, though, is when we work with clients, our clients are kind of specialists in their business, and we help them with that, but we can't help our own businesses at all. One guest referred to it as the Cobblers Children. It's just, why do you think we're so hard-headed? Why are we so hard-headed? Because we open up shop, we think we know everything, and we don't know everything. Sometimes we don't have our processes or back offices set up. I mean, why are we so hard-headed, Jason?
Because you're too close to it. I mean, that's at the end of the day, everybody struggles with that. I mean, like, for example, a couple months ago, I changed the picture on my homepage. And it was just a cheesy picture of the stupid pose that everybody has of me. And I'm like, oh, this is horrible. I can't think of anything else to do. And literally, I spent like a week going, what kind of image can I put there, right? And then finally, one of my clients says, put an image of you speaking. I'm like, oh, it's so easy, right? Because we're too close to it. And you got to kind of back out of it, either get away from the business for a while or have some outside help. I hear that all day long. Like literally some of the things I'll go over with, my clients will be like, man, we tell our clients that all day long, but we can't do it for ourselves.
Right. And Jason.
And some people have that skill of kind of stepping outside of their own body and kind of seeing it as a customer versus, just going, yeah, we know everything. And we think our clients want to know everything we do.
Wow.
No, they don't.
Jason, I'm going to take a break real quick, man, and we're going to pick right back up where you left off because I think a lot of folks really need to hear that. So we're going to take a break real quick, and we're going to come back with Mr. Jason Swenk, and we'll keep you in Swank-School. How about that, Jason?
Sounds good.
All right.
You don't need a marketing agency. You do deserve very important placement. VIP Marketing and Advertising is a cutting-edge strategic digital, creative, media, and marketing partner that provides services for businesses of all sizes. To stay up to date on the latest marketing news, subscribe for email updates at veryimportantplacement.com.
All right, we're back with our guest, Mr. Jason Swenk, and I am in Swank-School right now. And we just left off with Jason kind of giving us a little story about himself, where he said he put himself on his website with kind of a picture of him speaking. And Jason said that some agency owners, we are too close to the business, and sometimes we need outside help, and that's where he comes in. So, Jason, kind of elaborate a little more on us being too close to the business, or if you can give us just kind of an example of what you mean there.
Well, I mean, look, you guys are in the business, and we assume that everybody knows exactly what we know. And so that actually hinders a lot of our marketing that we do, because we're like, oh, they already know that. I don't need to put that out there. Mm-hmm. But they may not. Or you may assume that they need to know more than you're actually giving them. And so we're just too close to it. And a lot of times we have to kind of step out of our skin and kind of look at it in a visitor or a prospect's view, mm-hmm. and say, if this was the first time seeing this, what would be my first impression? Like within the first 5 seconds. Right. And like I was telling you before, like I had a cheesy picture of me on the homepage like every idiot does on their website, and I was like, I can't stand this because I don't want to look like every other idiot. Right. I want to look like my own idiot. I literally, for like a week, I couldn't figure out what image to put there until one of my clients was like, dude, just put a picture of like an authority. I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, you speaking on stage. I'm like, dude, that's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, so like I knew that all along, but I was just too close to it. And that's how a lot of us are. That's why you gotta, sometimes agencies need to use other agencies.
I mean, that's a good point, though. One of the things I wanted to ask you, too, is do you find it where some agencies just don't trust others? Because especially in such a dog-eat-dog world, I have a few select agencies that are friends with ours, and we kind of talk to them, and they kind of operate as almost like a board for our agency where they may help me with some pitfalls, and I may help them with some pitfalls, but some agencies, they're afraid to talk to other agencies.
The ones that are afraid are the ones that are not constantly learning and innovating, right? They've reached a certain level, and they're just trying to protect it, right? Versus like, I tell everybody what I do. I don't care. Like I have all kinds of copycats going to be behind me. I'm always innovating. I'm always doing something new. That's why I started vlogging 3 weeks ago, right? Like I'm like, cool. You suckers are copying my videos and all that kind of stuff. Cool. You cannot copy this, right? And so you got to always be innovating. And so the people that are standoffish, don't worry about them. They will not be around very long. They won't last. And they're trying to go after everybody versus going after a specific market. Like that's literally, their competition, if you really looked at it, if you really specialize, your only competition is cat videos and procrastination. That's it.
Wow. Cat videos and procrastination. Now, the minute I see someone on YouTube trying to do a video with three cats around them, Jason, I'm going to be pissed, and I'm going to let you know. Okay.
Well, that's why I used the cat video on my homepage.
Well, Jason, I want to talk about this one product that you have. I mean, you probably have more, but the Agency Playbook. I want to talk about that because I know when we started out, it was like, okay, yeah, we have talent, but we had no processes in the beginning. Now, let's talk about the Agency Playbook, because not only is it just, the process, it kind of tells you what to do. Am I wrong?
Yeah, so exactly. Well, it walks you through the systems that you need. And if you don't have the only difference between where you all are at now and where you want to go is the systems that you need in place. Mm-hmm. And it kind of goes back to the very beginning. So think about like when I started my business, I started by accident, right? And probably a lot of you listening are probably in the same boat. Like literally people, you knew how to do something cool, right? Mm-hmm. In marketing or design or development, and someone offered you money. You're like, this is awesome. And then you stuck up the middle finger to the person you were working for and said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
And you started doing it, but you didn't have the first system, which I call it clarity. You didn't know where you wanted to go, why you wanted to do it. You didn't know who you wanted to go after. You didn't have that vision. And if you don't have that foundation, you are screwed. Because then as you hire employees, you hire people, they're going to constantly come to you for questions. And you're like, dude, why do you keep asking me this? But it's actually your fault, because if you gave them the vision of where the company was going, then they could make decisions based on where the company is going, why they do what they do, and who they go after, versus making decisions what's better for themselves.
That's a great
So
point.
you gotta have that. You gotta have that vision. I mean, it's just like using Google Maps. Great, amazing software gets you anywhere in the world, but if you don't put it in the destination, it's completely useless.
Great point. Now,
and yeah, go on.
The next step was you were talking about clarity, and how about like the positioning part of it?
Well, yeah. So if you don't know who you're going after and where you're going, how the hell are you going to position your agency to be the choice rather than a choice, right? So if you don't know who you're going after, picking a particular market, and here's the deal, guys, is you're only marketing to this particular niche or niche, wherever you're at in the world, right? Mm-hmm. You still can take on work outside of that if you want. Like, I work with all kinds of companies outside of digital agencies, but if you go on my website, it just says digital agency. So you're just marketing to that niche, and you're doing exactly what I was talking about before in the positioning is you're changing the focal point to the prospect, not yourself. No one cares about you, not until they know you can actually help them.
Right.
So focus all your attention on them, position yourself that way, and you'll win. Now, here's the other deal, is after you get the clarity and the positioning, and all of these build upon each other, right? It's kind of like you're building a foundation. If you're building a house on a mountain, you don't have the right foundation, it's going to crumble, it's going to fall to the ground.
That's right.
And so after you have the positioning, now you can look at offering, right? And so many of us, including myself, I used to do this, is we pitch our core service first, right? We're pitching marriage. We go up to that significant other in the bar or pub, and we say, will you marry me? And they're like, hell no. Unless you're, I guess, Brad Pitt or Angelina Lee or whatever, right? They're going to say no most of the time, the normal ones. The crazy ones you want to avoid. Right. And so you got to figure out, what's your offer? Like, can I offer a slice off of my core offer? Can I do what I call a foot in the door offer, which is like a strategy session, a blueprint, an audit, paid, right? So you're actually converting them from, a prospect to a paying customer. So now, if you do that, they're going to be 20 times more likely to pay you again if you fulfill on the first promise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And so you got clarity, you got positioning, and you got offering. Now you can get into prospecting. See, this is where one of the biggest mistakes agencies make is they skip the first three systems and they go straight into prospecting. And they start trying to generate leads, but they don't know where they're going. They don't know who they're going after. Mm-hmm. They have a bad offer, right? And so like everything crumbles and they go, oh, Facebook doesn't work. LinkedIn doesn't work, or this doesn't work. I'm like, well, yeah, because you didn't have the right foundation in order to build upon.
Yeah, you just said with the prospecting. Now, prospecting has changed so much, man. Jason, I've been in the industry just in marketing and advertising for almost 15 years now, and in the agency space almost 8 years. So the prospecting has changed so much where you can't use those interruptive tactics like knocking on the door. Hey, my name is Sally Mae, and I'd like to talk to you about my agency. I mean, have you seen prospecting just change?
Well, people think it's changed, but I really don't think it has, right? So I think you have a lot more at your disposal, but at the end of the day, it's people to people, right? It's not B2C, it's not B2B, it's people to people, right? And yeah, so like I believe in prospecting, you need to have 3 different channels, at least 2 channels. You need an outbound channel, which is picking up the phone and calling people. Now, here's the deal, is when they call people, they're not trying to help, they're trying to sell them. And that's correct. That's the biggest mistake. Or they're thinking about what's in it for me right now versus thinking long term. I watched the video with Jeff Bezos from Amazon. 3 things that they do that's part of their core values. They go, one is customer centric, like they obsess over their customer. Innovation is the other, and long term, right? And if you look at anybody that thinks that way, they're crushing it right now.
Wow.
Or they're going to crush it. And so we're thinking too short term versus thinking long-term of going like, so for example, if I was doing an outbound strategy, I would say, and let's say you're doing let's use an example I did. So our core service was web design. We want to sell like 100,000 and plus designs, or dollar designs.
Mm-hmm.
So we would say, all right, well, anybody that would spend that, they're probably spending money on advertising, probably spending a lot of money on advertising. So what numbers can we look at? And I'd say, well, if they're spending over $10,000 a month on AdWords, it's going to be a good prospect. So they'd say, okay, so we're going to literally come up with a strategy, call these people. So we'd call them up and say, hey, we noticed that you're spending over $10,000 a month on AdWords. Tons of, what we've seen in the past is there's tons of overspending and people doing it the wrong way. And a lot of agencies are, taking advantage of you. We offer a service that can actually audit that.
Yeah.
And make sure you're doing it the right way. And so that would be our foot in the door. That's how we could actually help them out. Or we would call someone up and say like, hey, let's say I was calling the hospitality industry. I'd say, hey, are you aware of the Power Editor and how retargeting actually works in the hospitality space and what you can actually do? I'd love to take 10 minutes and show you. And then, really go from there. Like you're helping them, not selling them. Like you don't have any expectations for a return for a while.
That's a good point. So you said there should be 3 channels when you're prospecting. You said there's outbound and what else?
Inbound.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be putting out valuable content on a consistent basis for a particular market. The last part is one of the most important for a particular market. Too many agencies, too many businesses are trying to put out content for everybody. You're going to fail. And it's going to be general. And you're going to look like a Me Too business or Me Too agency. You've got to have headlines like, are you an agency owner and are you tired of the prospect going completely silent after you send the proposal? Like headlines like that.
Right.
So like, check. Yep.
Well, that's actually how I found you, by what you were actually, you're inbound. I actually found you that way. And then, we actually started talking from that way. So definitely true. Definitely true.
And then the third part is strategic partnerships. So I mentioned we became one of the best partners in the world for Microsoft and Sitefinity, right? So figure out who else your audience is actually using or going, or is going after them, and see how you can actually help them out. Now, don't be the typical person going, hey, you're going after the same people, send me leads, right? Or can you blast your list? I get that all the time. I'm like, can you blast your list for me? I'm like, no, you didn't offer me any value. It's kind of like a bank. You got to make deposits before you make withdrawals.
That's right.
So you got to think about how can you help them. I mean, like a friend of mine, Jay Baer, wrote, I guess I had him on the podcast a long time ago, and he talked about it's helping, not selling. And it's so true. Like think about how you can help someone and you'll never have to sell anything.
Wow, Jason, you're blowing this up right now. I mean, I think there's more. I would love to continue going on and talking about the agency playbook, and I think there's some more steps. But what I'm going to do is it okay with you if I do an episode 2, Jason? Can we do that? So we'll just definitely be respectful of our listeners' time here and just kind of wrap it up. So, Jason, I want to thank you definitely for being on the show, and for our listeners, you can see this guy is super knowledgeable and he is the truth. He's definitely the truth. So I encourage any agency owner to get out there and check out Jason. And Jason, if you don't mind, could you tell folks exactly where they can find you?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a fun and easy website to remember. Do swank.it. So all you have to do is swank it.
I like that.
And Swank is spelled with an E, not an A. So swank.it. And you'll go to a page and it will basically allow you to opt in order to receive all the information that we send out on a weekly basis. And then another place, obviously, is go to jasonswenk.com. And literally, we give away probably 75, 80% of our knowledge for free, and our weekly podcast that we interview agency owners, or the daily vlog that we do on YouTube. So, hit us up there, and if we can ever help out, let us know. But here's the deal. Take action.
Absolutely.
Action leads to transaction. So hopefully you learned one thing from today. Go take action. Like write it down. Go do it now.
You heard the man. You heard him. Take action. And Also, I want you guys to take action as well. So stay tuned. We're going to bring you a new episode every Wednesday. So each week we'll give you an episode of your daily development. And if it's content you crave, just log on to veryimportantplacement.com, sign up for updates, and also get our weekly video marketing minute. And we love reviews here. 1 star is cool, but 5 stars make us look awesome. So make sure you check us out. Take a listen, give us reviews on wherever you listen to your content, your Google Play, SoundCloud, or iTunes. And this has been your daily development. Thank you again, Mr. Swenk.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us.
Copyright 2017 VIP Marketing and Advertising. Produced by Craft Creative.
When all eyes are on you, make it count. From audio to video to graphic design and more, Craft Creative can do it all. We don't make commercials. We craft creative. See what we can do for you at wecraftcreative.com.